You've seen it happen. The one person in the room who actively doesn't want to interact with the dog, the one who stiffens when he enters, who moves their hands quietly to their lap, who may have even said out loud, "I'm not really a dog person," is the one the dog chooses. Not the person who has been calling him over for the last 10 minutes. Not the person who's been patting their legs and using the high-pitched, excited voice. The nervous one. The one trying to disappear into the corner of the couch. The dog goes directly to them, sits at their feet, rests his chin on their knee, maybe follows them to the kitchen when they try to make a quiet escape. And the people who love dogs, the ones who've been trying desperately to get his attention, get a brief sniff, maybe a glance, and then nothing. And then it seems like a joke. Like the dog has a broken sense of direction, or is deliberately making the situation uncomfortable, or has decided to be rude to the one guest who'd actually appreciate being left alone. But none of that is what's happening. What's actually happening has a precise and fascinating explanation. And once you understand it, this behavior stops looking strange and starts revealing something remarkable about how dogs read the social world around them. 1. Your dog is not reading intentions, they're reading signals. The most important thing to establish first is what your dog cannot do. They cannot know that the nervous person doesn't like dogs. They cannot understand, "I'm more of a cat person," or "I had a bad experience when I was a child." They can't read mental states directly. They cannot process the idea of preferences and categories and social labels. What they can read, with extraordinary, almost unsettling precision, is body language, posture, gaze, muscle tension, movement speed, breathing, proximity, vocal tone. These are the channels through which dogs gather information about every living being they encounter. This is the language they have always operated in, and the one they are most fluent in. And here's the thing. The body language of a nervous person, completely unintentionally, sends a very specific set of signals that, translated into dog social terms, means something entirely different from what the human believes they're communicating. They think they're communicating, "Please don't come near me." The dog reads, "This is the safest, least pressured person in the room." Those are not the same message. And that gap between what the human intends and what the dog receives is the entire explanation for why this behavior happens so consistently, so predictably, and so reliably across so many different dogs and situations. 2. The nervous person is not making direct eye contact, and that changes everything. In dog social communication, eye contact between strangers is loaded. A hard, sustained stare is not neutral. It is, at minimum, an acknowledgement, and at its strongest, a challenge. When two unfamiliar dogs meet and one locks eyes with the other without looking away, the one being stared at faces a binary: match the gaze and escalate, or look away and signal deference. This applies to human-dog interactions too, especially between a dog and someone they don't know well. When a dog enters a room and scans the people in it, part of what they're reading is gaze. Who is staring at them, how intensely, with what kind of facial tension. The nervous person instinctively avoids eye contact. They look down at their hands. They look at a corner of the room. They might angle their face slightly to the side. None of this is a calculated social strategy. It's anxiety doing what anxiety always does, trying to make itself small and unnoticed. But from the dog's perspective, it arrives as a clear, calming signal. This person is not staring me down. This person is not a challenge. Their gaze says, in the clearest possible terms, I mean no harm. Now contrast that with the dog lover in the room. They make intense, beaming eye contact. They lean forward, their eyes go wide. The excitement in their face is visible and real. But that same excitement, concentrated into a hard, direct stare from someone the dog doesn't know deeply, can land as high pressure or even vaguely confrontational. They're not doing anything wrong. Their joy is genuine. But the delivery, through the dog's reading of it, is a lot to walk into. So the terrified person accidentally signals, "Safe, not a threat. Come if you want." And the thrilled person accidentally signals, "Intense, demanding. A lot is expected here." Guess which one the dog moves toward first. 3. The nervous person is still, and stillness reads as safety. There's a second layer to this, running alongside the gaze, and it's equally powerful. The nervous person almost always goes physically still. When someone is anxious around a dog, every instinct they have says, minimize. Don't make sudden movements. Don't draw attention. Keep your hands close to your body. Sit quietly. Become as small and contained as possible, and hope the dog decides you're not worth investigating. From the dog's point of view, this is an extraordinarily comfortable person to be near. Dogs who are even slightly sensitive to social dynamics can find fast-moving, loud, expansive people genuinely overstimulating. Consider what the dog lover in the room is often doing, bouncing over with arms opening wide, speaking in a rapid, high-pitched voice, reaching out immediately toward the top of the dog's head, leaning in close from above. Every one of those individual actions has been studied, and every one of them is actually a gesture that many dogs find uncomfortable from strangers. The reach from above, the looming posture, the sudden proximity. The nervous person does none of that. They're still. Their arms are close to their body. They're not reaching, calling, patting their lap, leaning forward. They're simply existing in the space. And from the dog's perspective, they are the lowest demand presence in the entire room. When the dog approaches the nervous person, there's no grab waiting for them. There's no immediate hand on the head. There's no escalating enthusiasm to match or manage. They can sniff freely. They can sit down. They can stay or leave. The nervous person has accidentally given the dog something most dog lovers forget to offer: a completely pressure-free interaction where the dog gets to choose every step. 4. The excited person is applying pressure, and the dog is responding to it. It's worth saying clearly because it often stings to hear. The people who love dogs the most are frequently the ones most likely to accidentally make the dog retreat. When a dog lover enters a space with a dog, they create social pressure. It might be loving, enthusiastic, genuinely warm, but pressure is pressure. The calling, the leg patting, the leaning, the repeated, come here, come on, come here, all of that is communication. And the message from inside the dog's processing sounds something like, I want something from you. I want it now. I want you to come to me, on my timeline, and engage with me at the level I'm bringing to this. Some dogs love this. They match the energy and the interaction is joyful for everyone. But other dogs, particularly more reserved individuals, dogs who are still learning to read this person, or dogs who have already been through a long day of social demands, find it exhausting. They might approach partially and then veer off. They might allow a brief sniff and then disappear. Or they might make a decision early. That situation over there, with the still person who isn't asking for anything, is where I'm going. This is not a personality flaw in the dog. It's not a statement about whether they like you. It is a social calculation, the same kind any socially intelligent creature makes in any given room. Where can I be present without that presence costing me something? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is next to the person who doesn't want me there. Subscribe if this is already changing how you think about your dog's choices, because the next part adds one more layer that most people never consider. 5. Some dogs may be responding to something they can smell. Here's the layer that almost nobody thinks about. When someone is anxious, their body chemistry shifts. Stress hormones, cortisol, adrenaline, change what the body produces, including subtle compounds in sweat and breath that carry emotional information in chemical form. To another human, these shifts are imperceptible, but dogs have a sense of smell that is tens of thousands of times more sensitive than ours. There is growing evidence that dogs can detect emotional states through scent, that fear, anxiety, and stress have a detectable chemical signature that trained and attentive dogs pick up on. Whether dogs are consciously reading that signal or simply responding to it at a behavioral level is still being studied. But the result is consistent. A stressed person in a room is not just visually and behaviorally different from a calm one. They may literally smell different. And the dog knows. What the dog does with that information varies. Some dogs seem drawn toward a stressed person in a way that looks like checking in. approaching, sniffing closely, staying near. Others may find it slightly unsettling and keep a distance. But many dogs, particularly those who are securely attached and socially confident in general, will move toward the stressed person in a way that looks, to human eyes, like they're trying to help. And whether or not trying to help is the right frame, the behavior is real. The nervous person is the most chemically distinct presence in the room, and the dog notices. 6. What this means for the nervous person and for the dog lover. If you're the nervous person in this scenario, the first thing worth knowing is that you are not failing any test. You're not sending out signals that invite bad things. You're just speaking a language you didn't know you were speaking, and your dog is responding to it in a way that makes complete sense from their side of the relationship. If you want fewer dogs approaching you at social gatherings, some things help. Staying within a group rather than sitting alone removes you as the only still, low-pressure target. Moving a bit, not toward the dog, just being present in motion, changes your stillness profile, and you can always simply ask the owner to call the dog away. That is a completely normal and reasonable request. A responsible owner will do it without hesitation. If, on the other hand, you're curious, if part of you is a little touched that the dog keeps choosing you, you're actually in a perfect position to try a low-stakes first interaction. The dog is already comfortable enough to approach you. Let them sniff your hand without reaching toward them. Let them decide how close to get. If they lean into you or put their head down, you can rest your hand gently on their back or side. If they step back, let them step back. Go at exactly their pace, and you may find that the interaction is less scary than you expected, because the dog is giving you the same thing they want themselves. No pressure, no demands, total choice. As for the dog lovers who keep getting passed over, the adjustment is smaller than it might seem. Slow down, lower the energy a little. Instead of calling the dog toward you, try sitting quietly and letting the dog notice you're there. Extend your hand low rather than reaching over their head. Match some of the stillness that the nervous person is offering accidentally. You'll be surprised how quickly a dog who seemed uninterested suddenly decides you're worth approaching. 7. What this behavior is really telling us about dogs. The reason this pattern keeps appearing across different dogs, different settings, different levels of canine socialization is that it's not about the specific person. It's about what dogs prioritize when navigating a social space they don't fully control. They are looking for the path of least pressure, the interaction with the most choice and the least demand, the presence that doesn't come with expectations baked in. And they are reading all of that in less time than it takes you to notice the dog has entered the room. The nervous person wins that assessment almost every time, not because dogs love fear and not because they have a cruel sense of humor, but because fear, in body language terms, looks remarkably similar to exactly what every thoughtful dog owner should be offering every dog they meet. Stillness, no direct pressure, no forced eye contact, and the freedom to come closer or not on their own terms. The lesson isn't that you should pretend to be afraid of your dog. The lesson is that the body language of non-pressure, of choice, of stillness, that's the language that opens doors. With your dog, with unfamiliar dogs, and with animals in general. Your dog isn't making a strange choice when they go to the person who doesn't want them. They're making the most sensible one they can with the information they have. And that information, it turns out, is written all over everybody in the room. Subscribe if you want to keep learning how your dog reads the world and how you can meet them in the language they actually speak.